welcome to the November 10th, 2025 Policy and Government Relations Committee meeting of the School District of Waukesha Board of Education. I call tonight's meeting to order. We'll start with verification of the meeting posting. Julie, can you please verify that the meeting has been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Now is our opportunity for citizens to speak if we have anyone signed up. Do we have anyone signed up this evening?
No, we do not.
All right, so we can move on to our first action item, which is the approval of the minutes. Minutes for approval are from the October 6th, 2025 Policy and Government Relations Committee meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I so move.
Moved by Mrs. Voigt.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Grodin. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved 5-0. All right, that brings us to the policy discussion and information section. We do have a technical correction tonight. Policy 2431, interscholastic athletics. Dr. Siebert.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wad. So this is a very easy one. It is on the first page, right above athletic eligibility. It is crossing out the word sportsmanship when referring to expectations. The rationale behind that is because this policy refers to more than just athletics. It also refers to activities, and the word sportsmanship, generally speaking, relates directly to athletics. So it's just a clarification point.
All right, very good. Anyone have any questions or comments on that? All right, thank you, Dr. Siebert. Next, we have one policy for possible action. We'll start with discussion on policy 0144.5, board member behavior, communications, and code of conduct. Dr. Siebert.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wad. So this was in our most recent Neola update, which was 34.2. The recommendation here is to clarify some language around both conflict of interest and FERPA language. So if we walk through it together, on the first page, in the second paragraph, there's the addition of, it says compromises, the addition is the reputation or legal position of the district, where it had just said legal position, so it adds reputation or, and instead of says should be avoided, changes the language to are prohibited. Under general expectations of all board members, it outlines under C that board members should be familiar with and comply with and be familiar with, in this case, the qualifications of the office. In G, it simply is more of a technical correction. It eliminates the word and because it's not necessary. And then on the second page, under that same category of general expectations of all board members, adds a letter S, which says disclose any actual or perceived conflict of interest. And then on page 3, there is a sentence at the end under board member records and confidentiality. And the addition is board members must also protect and not disclose records consistent with and governed by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. Then the only other addition is it moves under enforcement. Instead of capitalizing the A through F, it lowercase letters the first word of each of those sentences. So those were the Neola recommendations from update 34.2. Those could be accepted by the committee. You could modify those if you wanted, or not change the policy at all. Completely up to the committee.
All right, thank you, Dr. Siebert.
Yeah.
I'll open it up for discussion. Anyone have any questions, concerns, comments? All right, seeing none, I would entertain a motion for adoption as presented. Ms. Voigt?
I so move.
Moved by Mrs. Voigt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Passes 5-0. All right, next up on the agenda is the is government relations discussion and information items. Dr. Siebert, do you have an update for us tonight on the state of Wisconsin legislative updates?
I do have a few updates, Mr. Wad. And two of them are from our last meeting where we talked about getting some more information. One was on Act 20 for math. So that is Assembly Bill 615. And it reads very similar to Act 20 for reading, where it requires school boards and independent charters to develop and implement a numeracy assessment plan under which numeracy screening assessments are administered to students in grade kindergarten through 8 for the purpose of identifying pupils who are at risk of not meeting grade level standards. Tells you when you need to do those screenings 3 times a year, very similar to the way we do Act 20 for reading. And then you have to create tutoring opportunities as well as personal mathematics plans for kids that are struggling to meet the standards, just like Act 20. And then if you have fewer than 51% of your fourth graders who when they took the forward exam scored proficient or better, actually in which fewer than 51% who took the forward exam received a score of proficient or better in math, you need to develop a mathematics achievement plan for the school district. So it sounds to me like I thought Act 20 for reading was one of the greatest pieces of legislation, bipartisan legislation that Wisconsin ever produced. I think this would be equally on par with that in terms of trying to drive student outcomes and performance. But I would welcome any questions or certainly ask Mr. Brooks if he had anything to add.
Anyone have any comments? Anything? I guess what I would ask Dr. Siebert is, I know one of the things we found when Act 20 for literacy came out was we were already doing a lot of the things that was called for. Would that be the case with this as well? Are we on par? Would this potentially result in some significant changes in the way that we're doing early
I think it would depend on what the screener was. I mean, we're very comfortable with our iReady math curriculum and the usage of the iReady screening device, and then using that to provide intervention and enrichment. So what shifted in Act 20 was we couldn't use, the state picked the screener, right? So we couldn't use the one we were using. The one we're using now is absolutely fine too. So we'd have to evaluate that, but I think our curriculum would be already in place, what we would need to continue to move forward.
Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, from my understanding, in the math bill, there isn't going to be like a universal screener that the state prescribes. The DPI might come up with a list of recommendations, but if districts are already using one, I would imagine the iReady screener that we're currently doing would fit the need, so I don't think we would need to do anything additional there.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or questions for Dr. Siebert on that?
Okay, well then I'll keep going. The second one was on dual enrollment. We talked about that a little bit last month. That's Assembly Bill 582. So what this bill does is it requires the Department of Workforce Development to establish and maintain a portal on their website dedicated to informing high school students and their families about the state's dual enrollment program. And as part of that, they must include sufficient information for pupils and their families to apply for any dual enrollment program offered in the state, and then information regarding courses that may be taken under dual enrollment programs, and update that annually. It also allows summer session courses to be taken under the Start College Now program. That would be a change. It allows 9th and 10th grade kids to take courses under the Start College Now program. Which would be different. And then it also specifies that if core general education course credits are transferable under current law, post-secondary credits earned by high school pupils under either the early college credit program or the Start College Now program for completion of those core general ed courses would also be transferable. So it seems to be more about education I think it was, when my reading about it, not like, I think like in more urban areas like us, it's pretty well understood, but maybe in some other less densely populated areas of Wisconsin, maybe not as much. So good informational guidance there, as well as making some tweaks that would allow kids to have more opportunities to have those college credits or summer school credits transfer, which is good stuff.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on the dual language, or I'm sorry, dual enrollment legislation? Again, similar question to what I asked about AB 615. Is there anything in there that would significantly impact what we're doing already in this area, Dr. Siebert, if it were enacted?
I don't think so. I think we've had a recent report, or maybe it's upcoming. I'm trying to think, the years kind of go together for me, but we usually talk about it at Teaching and Learning, and we talk about the amount of money that we're spending on those credits, and every year that has been increasing, which certainly is a financial commitment for the district, but it's one that we gladly make because we think it's so good for kids and their families to be getting that head start.
Great. Anyone
All
else
right.
have any comments or questions on dual enrollment legislation?
Then I just have one more,
Okay.
which was the governor signing into law Wisconsin Act 42, which creates the statewide ban on cell phones. That happened on Halloween. And so by July 1st of 2026, the new law requires school boards to adopt policies that prohibit students from using wireless communication devices during instructional time. It also has some exemptions, so they can be used in the event of an emergency or a threat, to manage a student's health care, or for special education purposes. Every year, then you have to submit a copy of your policy to the Wisconsin Department of Justice. I would say on this one, we would believe we were in good shape already. The kids at the elementary and secondary, keep them in their lockers or off their person. And then at the high school, we've been largely successful, can't say probably universally successful, but largely successful with phone caddies in the classrooms, where kids, when they do bring them in, they put them in the things that we used to get the calculators out of. Right now we use those for cell phones, and that has worked well, and it's worked well to allow the kids to use them during their passing time or during their lunch time, and not do the complete ban, but just to have them not on their person when they are in class. So I think that's a step forward. I didn't know where that would go, actually, once that got to the governor's desk, but I think it's a good step forward, and I think once kids don't have them on them all the time, I think they realize, kind of like us, when you get away from it for a little bit, you are more focused, you are able to pay better attention, and that's really I think the premise behind the whole concept.
Any comments on that? Yeah, Mr. Zenobia.
Thank you. Just to clarify, so we obviously have a system in place now. This will make it a complete ban as far as no phone during any time during the instructional period of the day, or, lunchtime, what have you.
You can have it's just during instructional time. So
Right.
you can still have it in the hallway, you could still have it in the lunchroom, before school, after school. It doesn't mean you can't, the way I'm reading it, it doesn't mean you can't bring it to school. You just have to not use it during the class time.
So the enforcement of it is just to have a system in place to make sure that it's not being done during instructional time, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't ban it necessarily bell to bell. Now, all the law says is districts have to come up with a policy. It sounds like ours will already meet that, so it doesn't seem like we need to do anything additional there. Obviously, districts can be more restrictive than what the law says. They just can't be less restrictive than what it says.
So, Dr. Siebert, I guess the quick question I have is, when the state passes a piece of legislation like this, and we already have a policy in place, is this something we have, like, our council take a look at and just make sure that we're compliant with the legislation, or do we just wait for Neola to come out with something and compare it? Well, how do we typically handle that?
First, we'd probably wait for the Neola update, which we should be doing another one here relatively soon.
Right.
We usually do one kind of here near the end of the calendar year. So we'll see if there's something in there. And then using our legal counsel is always another good option.
Right.
If we just want to, if we have any questions about it. But
Yeah.
we'll wait for the Neola, and then we do have a little bit of time, and we're confident in our process.
And I'm not particularly concerned about this one in particular. I was just wondering about the process in general, when there's legislation passed and we already have some policy that may be similar, how we square those, so.
That's kind of I don't like, we don't always adopt everything from Neola, and nor do we have to, right? But when, one of the benefits of them is when there are pieces that come out through the budget, or they come out through separate legislation, they do give us updates on those pieces that, without that, you'd have to figure out on your own, or you work with your own legal counsel, which can get costly too as well. So Neola usually is on the up and up with all of those pieces, which is a value add for our partnership.
Right. Any other comments, questions on that? Did you have anything else under legislative updates? Dr.
No, those were the three I picked, just because we had talked about those two last month, and then obviously the cell phone ban is a pretty significant statewide thing, and we become, I want to say like the 37th state maybe in the United States to now have that, which is interesting.
All right, moving on to other business. Any recommendations for future meetings? Okay, seeing none, I think we can adjourn. The next Policy and Government Relations Committee meeting is Monday, December 8th, 2025, here in the boardroom at the Blair Administration Building. With that, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.